Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Myst III Exile. Let's continue. So, I took a little bit of a break. Let's take a moment to see where we are. We made it to the first of three puzzle worlds that will give us symbols that we'll need to get to unlock the final world we're supposed to be at. Let's see, which article did we read last? Let's see. I think we are on another Atris book article, so let's just read through this. 9.3.5.26. Barely see the points here. Remember, like in the old days when this game came out, if you're playing it on a PC, he probably had like a 22, maybe 32 inch monitor, a big old not flat screen monitor. You would have been a lot closer, so you probably could have read this, but also the resolution would have probably been pretty low. So a point on this might have been a pixel. Like a dot might have been one single pixel, and I could see a lot of scenarios when this game first came out that people wouldn't easily be able to read it, and still I'm having trouble reading it. But of course now I'm looking at it at like a 55-inch flat screen TV that's 10 feet away, which is my main problem. Plus the font is just kind of hard to read. Will these people never cease to amaze me? I thought they would object to my decision after all. No, we already read that. So, must be... the next one must be 9.3.61. Catherine left this morning when she saw me drudging out my old notebooks. I must have made quite the picture, sitting near the embers of a fire, surrounded by countless commentaries and journals. Some of them seemed more dust than paper, but the hours I spent sifting through them was worth it. So theoretically, Atris has created the best world he's ever created yet, and so, and that's where the people of Dunny are. Ideas for what this new age might be are tumbling around my head. And see, this was maybe my question, is maybe he was a little bit psychic and could see alternate dimensions and didn't even realize that he was making links to already existing worlds. But it never gets fully explained to my satisfaction. There are almost too many to catch a hold of. What's weird is I don't think we see any of this world in this game. We might see it in the fourth game or the fifth game, but I'm not sure we ever see this world, this age. Obviously, I must choose some starting point as my anchor. Writing ages is a science, a precisely structured execution of words. Every execution needs as its foundation an underlying concept around which the age can develop. In the past, I've written books around whatever idea intrigued me the most at the time. I wanted to discover how the age to which the book linked would manifest the results of that idea. Sometimes civilizations had arisen, sometimes they had not, but whether a society had come to exist on the age or not, it was often in response to whatever concept the book I had written embodied. This time, my search for a concept must be weighted very carefully. I already have the civilization I wish to see develop. I know our history as a people and the paths that we followed to arrive here. Today I must write a book which will link to an age that will allow us to continue on our way, growing ever stronger as one people. What underlying concept must this new age reflect that will best allow our civilization to shine? Is that what that says? So it seems like his new age, he's going to have to spend extra energy to make sure he doesn't write an age that's full of people already, because if that happened, then the Dunny people would be this invading force and it would probably cause conflict. I fear I must think on this some more, and that's that passage, so we'll leave it here. Now, on the concept of thinking of this more, we started, I think, right about here. There's some kind of power or transitional path that's blocked off this way. If we wanted to, and we definitely don't want to, we could go back to the main world. There's a book inside of that we can access, and we can't access this door. So we need to see what the rest of this map is. There really might only be 2 or 3 puzzles in this world. Since these are tutorial puzzles, they're not really designed to have a lot in them. It is kind of a great excuse for Ubisoft and Presto Software more to use that as its explanation as to why things are the way they are, and why their game may have not been as good or as detailed as Cyan's version of a Myst III, if Cyan had made a version of Myst III. That being said, I think there's an understanding of what modern games were when this came out, because Ubisoft and Presto was involved, that made this much more approachable. Whereas if you even now put an unknowing victim in front of Myst 1, they still would not be able to figure it out. It's not some foundational concepts that were adapted and reused over and over again in games going forward. If anything, it's the exact opposite. Video games have gotten increasingly more simplistic, and with that simplisticness being added, this is an elevator. Okay, this elevator has no power, so I think what we're going to learn in this world is we're going to have to empower quite a few things. So this might be an entire path of empowering things. But yeah, not really even the puzzles that are in the old Myst games got reused a lot. The concept of linking books certainly never were used in anything else. We have teleporters, certainly, so I guess that general concept existed probably before Myst happened. That's a Star Trek concept and sci-fi concept in general. Sound puzzles are kind of rarely done because they disadvantage the tone deaf and the actual deaf and hard of hearing. See, but being thrown in a world and not told what to do is just something that people would not appreciate these days. And in all honesty, even half of the people who were playing PC games when Myst 1 came out, that was something that people didn't appreciate. People tried. There were so few games of any quality or anything people were willing to give it a try, but that... Alright. So I can walk over to this. Will this turn on something? I might have to figure out where I'm gonna put power. Doesn't feel like any of this is doing anything. So, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't feel like we can do anything until we can find the source of the power. Alright. So we have a broken pathway that direction, which I don't think would have done anything else. I think the reason why you can walk here is so that when you turn around you see that. Just supposed to be a hidden surprise. Alright. It would be tough, though, to make a reboot of this series, because you would have to look at every single puzzle and at least make some major changes to it and modernizations, but you also have to be kind of careful not to go into the realm of a flight simulator game where it's just incredibly complicated with expert controls. A modern version of this game would almost certainly require a hint system of some sort, even though I don't think abduction really did. I think that might have been a mistake. So we found another part of the Book Thief's journal. We might as well read it now, because I'm afraid at this rate I'm gonna beat the game before I've read everything. Is coming back to me slowly, the knowledge of who I am. How long have I been trapped here? So much of it is blurry. Whole blocks of time still floating in the fog that eats my mind. But if I concentrate, get pieces of it back. It was the dream that first helped me remember. I was lying on the reeds near the tusk. I don't know for how long or how I got here. I am staring at the sky, seeing a man grow out of the cliff. First his head, then his shoulders, then his torso. Sunlight rims his body like a halo. I cannot move. I think the death has finally come for me. The man stands on the cliff with a book in his hand, staring down at the lagoon as if something made him sad. I wanted to call out to him, to tell him it was me he'd come to find, but my mouth is dry. I can't remember any words. And before I think to stand, he opens his book, puts his hand on the pages, and fades to dusk. I thought he was a dream. It was only later, hours or weeks later, that I find his swirling book atop the cliff, and when I reach down to grab it, it is real. The fog tried to swallow me then there, but I held on to the firm reality of the book and did not let it. I did not let the numbness steal my mind. So, what I'm guessing goes on is when you create a new age, if you want a way to get to that age from another age, Atris has to figure out a way to create a linking book to that age and transport that linking book to the other age. So Myst Island in the first game was the central location that had a library linking to all the other ages, which means every other age, at some point, he had to take a Myst linking book that would take you back to Myst and put it on the other ages. Theoretically, this would be a great way to do a reboot, because it means that you could say there are entire non-connected worlds where there simply was no linking book to any of them, because it was some other person besides Atris. And I think in a reboot you kind of have to do that. You have to get rid of all the characters, particularly since they were full motion. Did I go the wrong direction? I think I did. Yeah. Since they're full motion video actors, and all of those actors and actresses will be pretty old now, you'd probably go with a realistic animation and characters in a reboot series instead of doing FMV. You could certainly do FMV these days, it'd be easier than ever, but that ties you down then to actors and actresses, and then the last thing you want to end up doing is recasting people in your Myst reboot. Okay, that door doesn't open. Sounds like we're gonna have to open it on the other side, but it does have power, which that tells me we're probably in the right direction. In fact, all of this underground lighting has power. Maybe it would be a smart move if several game series and concepts were merged together. Instead of just making a Myst reboot, you take... I don't know, what else could you throw in there? The general concepts. You could take puzzles from some of the other games, but like Jonathan Blow's game The Witness, I think you could probably take some of his concepts and merge them with Myst, but Myst is the most recognizable name-wise one. This is covered in blood, it looks like. So I would almost certainly want a Myst reboot to be called Myst, but I would be fine if it stole ideas and concepts from many people, many other games. If this isn't blood, then this would be rust, which would mean there was water here at one time. Let's see. So we've got what I'm thinking are 3 or 4 different sections that have to go towards the center. Let's climb up this ladder and see what this does for us. Alright, so we've gone a long way to not go very far. And over here we can see this is dammed off. And so I imagine if we open this dam, we might have a hydroelectric generator. Now this opens the door to a lot of questions, certainly, like, does it ever rain, or what causes the water to shift? Every Myst island has been, up until this point, a complete just island in an ocean planet, so that seems to be the basic thing that happens. See, and this looks like this would be something you can click on, but I can't even get the mouse cursor to go that far. So I guess that is that. The water looks like it may have gone down a little bit, so that might have exposed more areas that we can search. Alright, let's go back up, and then let's look down here. I thought maybe I was seeing something, but I guess I'm not. Nothing seems flooded here, so we can go this direction. Looks like there's portholes. And Apparently I needed to force a water wheel open. So now it's spinning. So now we're maybe generating power. And this gear is spinning. Cool. And it sounds like looks like this is another dam. So maybe we blocked off this and this was all flooded before. I guess that might have been the case. Alright. See if this door opens. Nope. Still is totally locked. I'm guessing this red is supposed to be an indicator of rust, and it seems like it's playing the same symbol over and over again. Right. And yeah, this like a pretty easy to open door, and looks like a moderately easy to get going generator. We're gonna screw that in. That's gonna lock a gear. Oh, I guess it can't be spinning. Alright, so we need to come back over here. I can't stick my hand in there to stop it, so I'm probably gonna have to come back up here and see what we can do here. So we can see the flaps on the water wheel are up, and the water pressures and centrifugal force is keeping them up. So now they designed this specifically so that I would screw up on the first try. So now I can close that. But I can't go. Interesting. I can go over here and look at this. I would have thought this would have been blocked off. But I can't go down there. Alright. A little symbol here of 4 lines. There would have been a pretty easy way to put in a achievement system in this kind of game, but there aren't anything on Steam, at least as far as achievements. Portal, I imagine, would be the series that also is kind of puzzly. What Portal as a concept does excellently is it introduces a single device and playing on that same concept and that same device throughout the game, and it centers around mobility. And so compared to Myst, it's kind of the opposite style puzzle game because you're moving around very fast. You might even go with something like Mirror's Edge, where there we go. Mirror's Edge is a parkour game and plays on the concept of that parkour movement quite a lot. Right, so now I should just be able to push this. And hey, look, the door's green. So this gear is locked into that. It's generating power. Why is the game spinning me? Oh, the game is spinning me because I'm standing on the spinning tile. Cool. That's a cool concept. So I'm standing on the spinning platform, and thus the game is moving me in circles. And it looks like the door is gonna just be permanently open from now on, and no longer do we have to worry about it. Doesn't look like there's anything else here, so down we go. And this feels like a submarine, but it also kind of feels like something that doesn't move. There obviously must be some kind of magic or mechanism in this, because the whole world resets, or you would assume that the whole world resets when a new person arrives. Otherwise, all of these puzzles would have been solved, and you would have to assume that the book thief intentionally unsolved every single puzzle correctly in this world, which means he already solved them all and really learned not anything of importance from it, and then unsolved them to lock you in there. Which that's also slightly believable, but it kind of destroys the idea of the world in general. I think Atreus would have just pre-programmed him to reset. And then that was certainly another thought, is if two people touch the Myst linking book, do they end up in the same place? I guess storyline wise they have to, but that doesn't mean they always have to. Maybe sometimes they don't.
What's the matter, Atreus? Can't remember how things work? Yet you explained this class so well when we first spoke of it in Orion. I want Cirrus and Achenar to learn everything they can, Savitro. First from Amateria, Idana, Voltaic, and finally from Narayan. When my boys come to see your people, I want them to see Narayan's traditions at work, so they can see how civilization can balance an age. Do you know what they did when they finally came to us?
No.
You never came back. After class was over, you took your boys away, and you never came back. Cirrus and Achenar did.
So the timeline here is a little weird, though. Was it a young, like 10, 12, 14-year-old Cirrus and Achenar that were supposed to take these classes, and then the 20-year-old plus Cirrus and Achenar that trapped their father, did they come back and do something horrible? Or was it perhaps the case of, let's see, let's not watch that again. Perhaps it was a case of it was only at a later age, the age we saw Cirrus and Achenar in the first game, was that when he had him take these classes, and they trapped Atreus in the White Book, spoiler for the first game I suppose, and maybe that's why he never came back. So the door is definitely open that Atreus may have had every intention to come back. Here we're getting a direct indication and telling us that these are electrical wires, in case somebody wouldn't catch that. These actually look like old fiberglass electrical coated wires that I guess most people wouldn't recognize by modern standards, but clearly if you're paying attention enough, you'll see every single one of these is wired to something. But we're not going to get into any hardcore electronics or anything like that. So that's not something we really have to worry about too much. And we can get a little bit further. I wouldn't be surprised if 60+% of all the puzzles on these islands are just puzzles built around the concept of getting through a door that is relatively close to where you are. And we're stepping on these platforms, and I think they are just here to kind of keep water from having to step in puddles. I don't think you fall far. I'm having a hard time interpreting what this brown, if that's like a foot of mud, or if that's very far deeper. Probably is just a foot of mud. Alright, so it seems like we've reached a massive generator, and that says 3 on it. So I imagine we are going to have to find a combination, unless this is just a simplistic puzzle. I mean, this doesn't seem too hard. And you know what's funny is that the mouse cursors change. Like when you're not zoomed out, the mouse cursor automatically locks you in a central location. But when you're zoomed into something, it becomes a free roaming mouse cursor. So I assume that this is the next puzzle that we'll have to do. It's been another 30 minutes, so let's save again and just hope everything works, because sometimes if you leave a game running, the things won't save. Wow. So 5, 6, 7 saves per page, and I assume an infinite number of pages. We're still in the voltaic area. So slowly we're getting both the backstory revealed via the books and the videos, which is nice. Of course, a more modern game like BioShock, which is, I think, a fair comparison, those audio recordings that are in BioShock 1, a lot better, quite frankly, and we think of them as old hat and cliche, and for the most part people don't want them. But comparing a audio recording to having to read books like in Myst, or having to read many books like in The Witcher 3 or Skyrim, I would take an audio recording any day of the week. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and give me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.